Hello and welcome to Biz Files. I'm Rosanne DeTorres and I'm the host of Biz Files. Biz Files is the talk show for business owners, by business owners, where you'll get tips and insights from successful entrepreneurs who reveal their secrets to success and the pitfalls to avoid. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out in business, Biz Files offers business owners proven strategies for starting and scaling your business. Learn to think like an entrepreneur with Biz Files. Please check out my website, bizfiles.tv, for information about future editions of Biz Files and resources for entrepreneurs. Joining us today is Vicki Harte. Vicki has been working in the marketing and creative services industry for more than 2 decades. Over those 20 plus years, she's hired and connected hundreds of vendors, launched thousands of marketing initiatives, and has been the catalyst for millions of dollars in lead generation. A multifaceted communicator, relationship builder, and networker, Vicki's passion for accelerating the marketing effectiveness of marketing-savvy businesses by helping them crystallize their strategic thinking and connecting them to the right creative resources. Vicki began her career as a New York City-based sales assistant in the finance industry, transitioned to representing commercial illustrators to top agencies in the New York City area, which led to a successful career in the staffing industry in business development and as marketing director prior to her launch of Harte Marketing Cooperative. Vicki holds a business management degree from Kean University, where when she's not sharing her brand development and messaging wisdom with clients, you'll find Vicki in her kitchen showcasing her culinary skills. Thank you for joining us today, Vicki. I appreciate you being here.
Rosanne, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's get right to it. So tell me, what inspired you to start your own marketing firm?
Well, Rosanne, I always knew that I had a little bit of the entrepreneur in me. And I worked for a firm and I was there for almost 19 years. And in large part, it was almost like we were training to be entrepreneurs. We were bought by a private equity firm in 2005. And where they left us alone for a while, we really started to, what made the company special started to diminish. So then we all kind of ran our own desks and we all had to find what we were going to sell. And I really felt like it was like a training ground for me to be my own business and run my own business. And when the opportunity came for me, it was always mulling in the back of my head, but then I definitely had a little bit of a confidence issue. I mean, it's scary leaving.
Daunting.
Leaving a paycheck, leaving benefits. I was in stability for so long in my family, and but there was something that was just pulling to me that said, this is your time. And I realized that if in the worst case scenario, I could always get a job, but that didn't appeal to me. It didn't sound like the right answer to me, and so I after many months of not really sleeping properly, the answer was just to start my own business and trust myself and trust my instincts.
Did you know when you were considering what to do for your future that it was going to be, what HMC turned out to be? Or was that more of a organic evolution of what the cooperative aspect of your business?
That's a really great question and an interesting one. This has actually been a culmination of a journey, and then I just had friends along the way that actually crystallized for me how I could, put wheels on this wagon. And it started with when I started to network, and I was referring people business, and I was getting a lot of nice lunches, but then when I realized I had referred somebody to $1 million client, they literally billed almost $1 million with them. And
wow.
I know, and I got a great lunch, but somehow I thought, there's something here, and not out of a grab for something for me as much as what I realized when I was out networking is, since I was business development, I was doing what I do. And every other business where I met some of these wicked smart people had to go network and then go back and do what they did. So they had to go, hustle up their own business, and then they had to go back
do the work.
Exactly.
They were the technicians too.
They were the technicians. But I just love networking. And networking to me was the thing that gave me life, because I worked in a place where we weren't, and in no disrespect, it actually gave me all the tools to who I am today and who I've evolved into. You know, we weren't working hard enough. We weren't working smart enough. You know, it was like, well, then what's the answer? Well, I had to go figure it out. So it actually like sharpened my tools for me. And when I was like, if I'm going to go out and network, and I was getting so much fabulous feedback from networking, I was like, well, there's a business model here. There's something here that is of value, not only to the strategic partners that I work with, but to the client companies who, because I worked in creative for over 20 years, I worked with a small 1, 2, 3 person design shop all the way up to the NBCs, CNBCs, Tiffany, Wall Street Journal, Dow Jones. So I worked with the big companies, so I knew how to navigate both and what my value proposition to both was. So that really kind of helped me pull it all together. And then it was friends who said, hey, we'd love you to do business development for me, for us. And then I started being like, all right, so working for friends isn't really a great idea, not especially if you want to keep those friends. And a number of different offers came to me in different packages where I was like, I kind of like this about this. I like that about that. How do I tie it all together? So really the idea started with networking, and an opportunity had popped up, and I was like, all right, this might have some heft to it. So that's really how Harte Marketing Cooperative was born out of the idea that, people are overwhelmed by marketing, and I love marketing. Like I get it. And I love marketing. So I was like, how do I take my years in the staffing industry, couple it together with my passion for marketing? And that's where Harte Marketing Cooperative came from.
Yeah, and it's great because you took your skill set and what you really love to do, which is talk to people, and you're great at that, and you figured out a way to monetize something that's easy for you to do. I mean, really, right? I mean, you're not really work. I don't want to say you're not working, but you don't have to work at connecting people. You're really good at it.
I'm not working in that respect. Yeah, I work hard. I work harder than when I worked in the city. It's just different. My brain is always being challenged, which I actually love, but I do love what I do. So it is like I'm not working. And then I don't mind the fact, I got to hop on at 9:30 at night and do something, but it's life on my terms.
Yeah.
And actually, you would understand this after working for a company for so long. Again, I was there 18 and a half years. To go in and get a full-time job again felt like I just left a divorce and now I'm going to get married again. And that wasn't appealing.
Yeah.
So
once you go to that place where you are the captain of your own destiny, it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back.
And I get, because I came into the staffing world, I know how people become unemployable, and all the jokes about we were unemployable, and that when you start your own business you're unemployable, and I get why. There was, for me, when you do your Ben Franklin, your pluses and your minuses, I miss a paycheck, I miss benefits, but I see the upside. And I see what it is. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and where they're adorable when they're babies. This is when they need me now. Like when it's like just navigating all the complexities of middle school and
social media and a device in every hand and Snapchat and all that. Yeah, of course. I agree.
So it really, hard decision. So happy that I made it, and I know that I'm on the right path.
Did you always know, even when you were a young girl, what you wanted to do?
Well, that's really funny that you asked that, because I've tried to avoid sales my whole life. And I actually don't consider myself a salesperson because I don't sell. I educate, I inform, I guide, I facilitate. And truth be told, I actually don't sell anything. I bring the right, I identify what my clients need, and then I bring the right resource. My strategic partners have to really do the closing. I love to connect, but I have been selling something my whole life and running away from sales forever. I was selling 50/50s at my mother's company picnic when I was 8. And I was just like, people are like,
you're probably really good at it too.
I was. And people were like, "Oh, you're a born salesperson." And then, I was selling Mary Kay. I was selling chocolates. I was selling gold jewelry. I was selling Avon. Every year in high school, I sold something because I grew up in that. I'm last of 5 kids, single mom who worked for the post office. I mean, there was no extras. And so if I wanted something, it was about getting it. So I always was selling, but I hated the idea because I always thought of like a used car salesman, and I always thought of a car salesman. It was just like this ugly word.
Why does sales have such a denigrating connotation to it? But when you think about it, we still don't like to use the word sales, but you're really selling yourself. You're selling the value that you bring to connect 2 people together. I mean, when people come to see me for their divorce, I mean, they assume that I knew what I'm talking about, that I know what I'm doing from a technical standpoint. Mm-hmm. They think they know that I should know how to get them divorced. They assume that, and that I'm going to be good at that. But I think what they buy is me. They buy my personality. They buy the confidence I instill in them. And I think I see that in you too, that, you're really selling yourself and what you bring to the equation for those people that are stymied by the marketing or advertising world.
I think that we're almost educators.
Yeah.
And we're educating people. And if you're interested, fantastic. I can help guide you. And if you're not, it's okay. Yeah. And I did the cold calling and all that like icky stuff. And let me tell you, you asked the question, why does sales have such a bad reputation? It's like there's a lot of bad actors out there who don't know that no matter what, it is about like, know, and trust. Mm-hmm. And if I like somebody, they're not selling me.
Yeah.
And there's so many people, it always has this feeling if you're trying to get something from me.
Yeah.
I operate from a place of transparency, from full disclosure, because I'm not interested in working with people that aren't interested in working with me. And it's actually empowering to be able to walk away from opportunities that don't fit me, fit my culture, and fit with my integrity.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, so tell me a little bit more. I want to talk to you a little bit more. This is a show about entrepreneurship. What is it that you think you took away from your last job working for others that taught you about entrepreneurship?
Like I said earlier, and that's a really interesting question, is, we were kind of being trained to be entrepreneurs unbeknownst to them.
Tell me about that. What did that look like?
What did that look like about being trained to be an entrepreneur? Yeah. Well, we started to lose the company started to lose kind of its core values and what made it important, why people love to be there. And the seed of a successful business. Sometimes people come to me for what they perceive as a marketing challenge, but they really have a business challenge. And no amount of marketing is going to help you through that. Yeah. If the culture is shot or the culture is damaged or in a spiral, no amount of marketing is going to bring revenue in. So that's those are different problems that need to be fixed. So we had to kind of learn how to, all right, if we didn't have a message, I'm a huge believer that anybody who works for an organization has to believe in that organization, or you just have people collecting a paycheck. And, if you went around the room, if you put all of us at a table and said, why X company, why X company, why X company, we all had different answers. And usually it was us. And when the core value of your company sits in the individual, as soon as that individual leaves, you've actually lost the value of your company. And there's nothing to develop. It's not because we believe in this core set of values that makes us unique and special and people love to work with us. So when that started to diminish, we all had to come up with our own value proposition. And when you come up with a value proposition, you sell yourself. And then what I started realizing when it was time for me to go was that I had sold myself beyond the promises that I could make and that the company could deliver. And so I was like, it's time to, it was time to grow and know what my promises were and know that I could deliver on them.
Yeah.
So
the takeaway there is establishing a value proposition. And is that something like, would you characterize that as something, your unique selling proposition, what makes you different from other people? Why go with me as opposed to somebody else that maybe does similar things that you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And I mean, we were in a commoditized business that was getting constantly crushed. And you can argue there's other marketers out there, there's other lawyers out there, but there's something unique about each of us in the core values that we instill in the people that work with us or that we vet to work with us, however we're structured, whether we have employees or strategic partners, there has to be a core value. It's like finding a partner in life, right? Or, you decide if you're going to be friends with somebody because there's a shared value. And being able to operate from that place is, for solopreneurs, that is your value proposition. That you insist on working with integrity and that the partners that you work with the same level of integrity, that the expectations are the same and that you can articulate what those are.
I think it also gets down to why you do what you do and what's motivating you, what's directing you from a really organic place. I'm sure you've heard of Simon Sinek and, his TED Talks start with why. And that really resonated with me when I first heard it, because I was talking in the opposite way when I would first meet people about what I did instead of my why. And I think people are much more compelled with the why. When I tell people I'm a divorce attorney, okay, I know 20 of those people, and it's easily forgettable. When you talk to people about your why and your unique selling proposition and how you do, not how, but why you do what you do, I think it's much more compelling to people.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you launched this business not that long ago, really, in November of 2016.
Yeah.
So what have you learned so far on this journey? What are some of the key takeaways?
Oh my goodness.
I remember somebody. Yeah. What would you tell somebody that was thinking about?
I remember specifically wanting my first year to be over so badly. Just knowing that there were going to be pitfalls, but you can't wish that away. I would say that I learned so much in my first year. I had this vapor of an idea, and then it really started to crystallize. And then as it starts to crystallize and it like reshapes it, how you start on day one and who you are 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, a year, it's different and you're evolving. And then once you start to really, you're like, okay, this is the direction I'm going to go in. And this is how my model didn't change all that much, but it changed enough to have significant change, to make a significant impact and really set me off on a course or trajectory. So in my first year, it was about learning patience, temperance with myself in not trying to wish away the hard parts. The hard parts are the things that make you eventually awesome at what you do.
Like what?
Learning to deal with this. One of the things.
The noise in your head?
Oh, and she's loud. At 4:17 in the morning, I would find myself, I always just, when I had, and I didn't have to worry about where my paycheck was coming from, or where anything else was coming from. I will tell you this, it is a lot easier to go work for somebody than it is to go work for yourself.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, the boss I have is the most awesome person. But yes, the voices in my head, the things that woke me up in the middle of the night, like to make sure that I did things right. I went from somebody paying me to me having to feed myself and then feed other people, essentially. I'm a lot less risk. I'm a lot more averse to risk now. I have, I'm married with 2 kids and a big fancy mortgage, and I can't make that anybody else's problem, because it isn't their problem, but I know what I'm responsible for. And so it was, those voices, the realizing that you don't have an IT department at the end of your, where you could dial an extension, and I became the IT specialist, the telecommunication specialist. I know about DNS certificates that I was like, I never even had to think about that stuff before. So it really rounded out my capabilities that lie dormant in me, where I essentially had to be a one-trick pony when I went into an office. Being an entrepreneur, I had to know, if not how to do it myself, who to access, so that I didn't drive myself crazy, and then have an idea of, once I can afford to hire, what my next hires are going to look like, and where to outsource. So all that stuff, I often say one of the things that always amazed me about going out and meeting other entrepreneurs is I would made a joke about how I felt like everybody was lying to me, because they seem so put together, and sometimes it's only my skin. The fact that I have skin was the only thing holding me together, and everybody goes out and they're so composed and they're so confident, and I felt like I know nothing. I felt
I call that, you want your insides to look like their outsides.
Yes, I felt very fragile, but you know what? In the year, it really came together, and I feel much more confident in my space, and if I could tell myself, my 14-month ago self, everything's going to be okay, and trust yourself.
But let's get a little more granular. Like, okay, what would you do? Like, I'm all about action. Tell me what to do. I wish I knew 5 years ago what I know now about being a business owner. What would you want to know if you were somebody who wanted to start a marketing firm or do something similar to you? What would you tell them to do?
I would tell them, it's interesting. I know this is going to sound kind of, you have to trust yourself. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to do, because I worked I didn't feel confident. I left a place where we were kind of, you're not working hard enough. You're not working smart enough. You don't know. But then, all right, fine. If I don't know, then what's the right answer? And then, so you kind of, a little abused. But in a real short period of time, I knew that I had it in me.
Yeah. So it's trusting yourself about what you do know, but it's also trusting that even if you don't know it,
that I was resourceful enough to figure it out. Yeah,
it's okay. You're gonna get there.
I'm a bit of a cat, Rosanne. So I always
land on your feet.
Always. Yeah. I have taken risks. I have done things that I know horrified my mother, and if you play it safe all the time, you're never going to get better. Like I signed up for the Boston, New York AIDS ride years ago, where I signed up for a 275-mile bike ride that I didn't even own a bike for, but I would figure it out on the other side. I signed up for scuba, I signed up to take scuba classes, and I had never even snorkeled before. But I know for me, taking chances into the unknown always served me better than knowing too much where I talk myself out of it.
Right.
So it really was about knowing myself. For some people, they need to know everything. If you're that person that needs to know everything, do your research and know that you're never going to know everything.
Before we end, I'd like to ask you a series of questions in a kind of a rapid fire format. Are you okay with that?
I am. I've had 1 cup of coffee, so let's see what I can go up with.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here goes. Who was your greatest business mentor and why?
My greatest business mentor and why. Do you know who I absolutely adore, and not just because she's my best friend, is Nicole Barone. She takes chances. She just knows. She operates in certainty, even though it's uncertain, and she lets you know that it's going to be okay. And she's definitely somebody that I've always looked up to in like taking chances and being so incredibly smart.
What one thing would you tell your 14-year-old self if you could?
My 14-year-old self, I would tell myself, keep moving forward, keep doing what I'm doing, because I'm actually really proud with who I came out to be.
And what one thing do you do every day to stay motivated?
I wear my Fitbit. I have pictures of my kids around me and my family, because for me, being successful is arbitrary. It's about showing them how to be, just that you have to take control. You have to own your own destiny. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody's going to, you may step in to some really great situations, but you have to make magic out of it. And, we're all given the opportunity. We have air in our lungs. We have, a brain between our ears. Now we have to do something with it. So I would definitely say that the fact that I want to show my kids how to do it.
What is the defining characteristic of your brand?
The defining, that's a hard one to answer in a rapid fire, but I like people and I love marketing. And I think that for me, and marketing, not even like for my own personal brand, marketing is just a part of it, but I really do love it. And I really do love talking to people. To me, you just never know. And I see the humanity in everybody, whether it's the doorman, whether it's the homeless person on the street, or whether it's a CEO. We're all just people. Mm-hmm. And we're getting our lessons. That homeless person could be teaching me lessons that they may be a gift for me to see something that I wouldn't normally see. So I would definitely say that is something that helps define my personal brand.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Be the change that you want to see.
And finally, tell my audience how they can contact you.
The best way to reach me, you can email me at Vicki@Harte Marketing Co-op, VICKI @Harte, HARTE Marketing Co-op, COOP.com. Or you can also reach me on my cell phone, which is really the best place to reach me, 201-407-7706.
Well, we're out of time today. I'd like to thank Vicki Harte for joining me on Biz Files, and to everyone listening or watching, thank you for joining me for this edition of Biz Files, the talk show for business owners by business owners. Please visit me on my website, bizfiles.tv, where you'll find information about future editions of Biz Files and resources for entrepreneurs.